There's power in choosing well. In the everyday moments, the way you move, the way you fuel, the way you rest, your body listens. Every choice adds up. Every step forward tells your story. When you make wellness a practice, you're building a rhythm your future self will thank you for. When you fuel with purpose, you're investing in the life you want to feel. And when you give yourself time to recover, you're not slowing down. You're getting ready to rise stronger. Because when you see your progress, when your choices start to show you what's possible, that's when you know you're not guessing anymore. You're growing. You deserve to feel your best. You deserve to thrive. You deserve to know.
Hello everyone, good morning and good afternoon to our SEAPAC sales leaders. I hope all of you are doing fantastic today in this morning. Welcome back to our PRYSM IO Ambassador webinar. My name is Fion. I'm super excited to be back for today's session as we will discuss the greatest opportunities of PRYSM IO, and you will see how PRYSM IO can actually unlock the new opportunities to help you scale your business. All right. So I'm going to invite our first speakers to tell you more about PRYSM and its opportunity. So he is none other than our beloved Dr. Joseph Chang, the chairman of New Skin Scientific Advisory Board. Let's give our warm welcome to Dr. Joe. Hello, Dr. Joe.
Hi, Fionn. Hi, everybody. So good to, it's your evening. Is it? No, it's your morning. It's my evening. I'm sorry, I got it reversed. And it's great to be with you today. And let's talk about PRYSM a bit more. So hopefully I'll give you a bit more information. Why is it so exciting? So, Fionn.
Thank you, Dr. Joe. Again, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Welcome back to SEAPAC region in this meeting. And I would like to actually congratulate you on the launch of your new editions of the Aging Myth. We can't wait to hear you more share about the new chapters and the insights in the book. So please tell us more, Dr. Joe, later on during your sharing and presentation. All right. So I'll pass the time now to you.
Okay. All right, so I'm taking over from Fionn. So what I'm going to do is, if you give me 1 second, I'm going to share my screen with everybody. Is that okay? So let me see where I can click on the share.
Sure,
There we
Dr.
go.
Joe, take your time.
Share. You got that. Click that. And can you see what I have?
Yes, I can see your screen and
Okay.
to just put it under presentation. Yeah, good.
Yes. All right. You can see, everybody can see it. That's great. Yeah, it's an interesting one. So far, since we have reached this stage, it's always been interesting and with the PRYSM development, because really we weren't quite sure whether we can actually make this device, frankly, during the developmental stage, because there were so many things we have to resolve and so many things we have to get correct before we can finally bring it to what you see in your hands today. And it was really quite a task. Congratulations to the whole team. And once again, for many of you, you should remember that's one of the special superpower of Nu Skin, and that is because we have a team of scientists, right? And now we have a team of engineers too. And if without that team, I frankly don't think we would have been able to develop this PRYSM. And I'm also going to tell you that without the previous scanner that we had for the last 20 years, it would have been impossible to really somewhat develop and bring it to develop this new transforming device that we now call PRYSM. So it's quite an achievement, frankly, in the sense that I'll boast on behalf of the team, because we asked them to give us something that is really that small and portable compared to the previous scanner. Some of you may actually know what I'm talking about, the previous biophotonic scanner. The latest one that we have is we just call it the S3, and it measures antioxidants, and I'm going to take you through this journey a little bit here today and really explain why. When you saw the introductory video and everything, we're starting to talk about wellness now. And wellness is very much connected to actually good nutrition or good nutritional health. And that in and of itself is also finally connected to what we so happen to measure. And that is the carotenoids, the antioxidants, if you will. We've always been telling all of you, whenever you hear a scientist talk, or whenever you see some of the claims that we made with the scanner, it was always about measuring antioxidants. I think we are going one step further. In fact, a very long leap forward. We're now beginning to understand that the PRYSM now is, yes, it's measuring antioxidants, but more importantly, we have been able to translate that antioxidant claim to something to mean wellness and nutritional health. That's an important leap forward. No other company can actually do that. And the reason is because they don't have that 20 years of scanner experience that we have. With the first scanner we launched was back in 2003. And we have collected more than 27 million scans, throughout the world. But what you did not know, and we never really publicized it too much, is the fact that during the scanning, we had also collected information about those people's lifestyle, whether they smoke, whether they're eating a good diet, what is their diet they're eating, what is their weight, do they sleep enough, and all these things. It is what we would call, collectively, we would call them the lifestyle choices. And we have that. And we have the scanner antioxidant number. But really, it was something that always thought, how are we going to analyze this data? Yeah. And how are we going to look at this data and see whether there's any connection between the lifestyle factors and the antioxidant score? Because I've always felt that the antioxidant score is technically not very meaningful to all of you. Okay? It's a hard thing to explain. And on the business side, especially, I always find it that I'll use the example of going into a lift. In the States, we call it the elevator. So you meet a stranger, and then you sort of say, oh, that's an interesting person. And you say, would you like to learn? I work with a new company called New Skin, and we have this device, called a scanner, a biophotonic scanner. And would you like to learn something about this device and its ability to measure antioxidants? What do you think the first reaction would be from this stranger? I think most likely the first reaction from this stranger would be, gosh, what is an antioxidant? It's very difficult. The first thing is, they most likely they've heard a little bit about antioxidant, but they don't really know what's the value of that antioxidant, those antioxidants inside the body. So it becomes a very difficult technical conversation. Your business is all about getting person interested first. And that then if you start off with an antioxidant, you then become what I call a scientist in a way, and you say, well, I have to tell you this antioxidant, you know what it does? It really neutralizes all the free radicals, and it's such a scientific explanation. And that stranger is only going to be in the lift for less than a minute or so, and he's going to go away. So when you go in this kind of technical scientific explanation, it becomes very difficult, right? After all, our new skin business is a people business, and it's difficult with a stranger if you don't catch it, if you don't catch that person's attention. So with the PRYSM now, what you would able to say and be able to sort of change or transform the question to, gosh, you know, we have this new technology in new skin and so on, and here it is. You sort of take it out from your purse or you take it out from your pocket, if you're a man, and say, well, this is the thing. You know what it measures? It will tell you something about wellness. In fact, it will tell you something about the status or the state of your nutritional health. I'm willing to bet with each and every one of you that stranger will say, actually, it's going to give me, or it will tell me something that is going to be meaningful to me about my wellness, about the nutritional health of my body. All right? So you have captured the person's attention, and then you are able to continue the conversation, and you want to talk about antioxidants after that, it's great. So visually, if you close your eyes and you think of what I just said, is essentially, you know, you have reversed your conversation and you start your conversation with a nutritional health or wellness statement first, which means 100% to everybody that you talk to strangers. That's the key, right? So when you go into that too, you know that Nu Skin, we have always been a Nu Skin anti-aging company. You know, we have ageLOC and everything. And we always talk about sources of aging, how we can influence them with our ageLOC products. And we have many of them, both in skincare and also in nutritional supplements as well. But maybe some of you have forgotten, right? And maybe we have not said it strong enough or emphasized it hard enough, is that our products are never actually been about helping you to live longer. It's the automatic conclusion when we talk about anti-aging. Oh, I'm going to live longer than I would have been able to without some of these Nu Skin products. I think it would be a little bit off target or slight mistake to think that way, right? We're really talking about when you take our ageLOC products or any of our anti-aging products in Nu Skin, it's the fact that we're actually hoping that your quality of life that we call health span here is actually improved. In other words, you're going to live as well and as healthy as possible until the day you die. And you might die at 90, you might die a bit later, but it's not as important with our products anyway, that we are going to help you live as long, as healthy as possible up to the day, whether it's 90 or so. It's not, what's the point of living another 10 more years or 102 or 3 or whatever, right? If your quality of life is not that good. For example, living the many years in a wheelchair, or in fact worse, cannot get out of bed. Somebody has to feed you. You can still live, but you're not going to have a great quality of life. That is really what we're talking about. You know, I think that's very feasible and that's very realistic for people to think. That's what our products do. It's wonderful if they live a bit longer, but I think get them to focus on their quality of life for your customers and so on. I think it's a much more I should say, healthier way of looking at our products and what the PRYSM can deliver. All right. So when you talk about quality of life and helping your body to be really healthy, you're really talking about building a foundation. Your body has to be nourished. Your body is being nourished by having a great nutritional diet or something. Time and time again, right? It comes to the fact when people look at what you eat, especially not so much in terms of what I call the proteins or the carbs or the fats, those are macro. That will help you to survive, if you will. Those are calories, right? That's why we have TRMe and so on. That's to take care of those macronutrients. What I'm really talking about is the other important group of nutrients. And those are called the micronutrients. Those are the vitamins, the minerals. They have no calories. All right? They have no calories. They have the phytochemicals you have and all that, but they are essential to keeping your body healthy. And time again, what we find whenever we analyze whether it's a Vietnamese population or whether it's a Malaysian population or Indonesian, we find time and time again, regardless of what you eat locally, there are very few people that can satisfy all the micronutrient needs that your body requires. It's based on science. We have done those studies, right? And it shows that it's in fact conducted by government agencies that the recommended daily allowances for vitamins and minerals and so on are never met in any culture. So you're compromising your nutritional health. And remember this, right? The fact that drugs that we have, they are very good. I personally have developed some drugs, if you know some of the history with me during my career, and they're great. They will treat very well diseases and so on. They will cure those diseases, but they can never ever heal the body. The body is the only thing that will heal itself. Nothing else can. There's a little bit of difference in English, right? Between healing and curing. Curing, drugs can do it. Healing can only be done by the body, and the body can only do it very effectively if it is healthy. And it can only be healthy through good nutrition. That's the important thing. All right. So constantly, when you look at what we eat, especially in this modern world, it's just impossible. We either eat too fast, we don't eat the right fruits and vegetables, and so on. And we just get a very low supply of micronutrients. That's not good. All right. So what do we do about it? So far, up to this point, including ourselves and so on, it's always been talk, talk, talk. We always tell people how good it is, even up to this point. Right? I've been telling all of you on the call, wow, how good it is to have good nutrition, how good it is that can lead to great wellness and so on and so forth, and how good our products will help you do that. Yeah, I can say all that, but I think it would be far more effective, and this is what no other company can do, and that is to be able to show people whether their nutritional health is at a very optimal level. That is the most effective way of helping somebody to understand. It's not just through talking, but actually to help them see inside their body. That's what the PRYSM does, right? And that is what we are calling the intelligent wellness era. Yes, they always be interested, every company. I'm sure there are lots of companies interested in wellness, but it's all talk. It's almost like, believe what I say, I'm always going to tell the truth. But frankly, sometimes what I hear, some of these, because of my knowledge background, I find that they're saying something rather silly and not accurate. But they can get away with it, right? Nobody can question them. But here in Nu Skin with the PRYSM, I'm actually asking you not to listen to what I say, but to see for yourself with our products how it can actually, in a way, how it can actually help to see use when you measure against the prism after 15 seconds. Huge difference. You know why the TRMe is so effective in your region, in Southeast Asia in general? I'll just mention, they actually can see the result of using TRMe, right? They actually have a scanner in a way, except the scanner that they have in that world, they call it the scale. You get on an Omron scale or whatever, and you can see whether you have lost weight or not. They have a scanner. You see, once again, it's something so powerful when you see. All I'm saying is what they have not been able to see when they use the TRMe is also, in addition to helping you lose weight, it actually improves your nutritional health. The reason why they got all that weight on all that fat in the body is actually because of bad nutrition. Now, if they use the prism together, complementary to the scale, they can also see, wow, I'm also improving my nutritional health. It's a 1-2 punch in a way. So there's no, it's a wonderful addition to your whole narrative in Southeast Asia. It's a means, it's a tool that you use. And this tool help you to see. That's why it becomes intelligent, because we can see inside your body, we get the data, then you can act on it. So this is really what the prism is. Okay? It's really, it's not very different from all the other things that we look at. Your doctor, for example, right, in the disease area, he uses a thermometer, right, to measure whether you have a fever or not. He has to do it. He can use a hand and say, oh, you're hot, but if you really want to get a good number and a good accurate reading of your temperature, body temperature, he uses a thermometer. Same thing. We must get data. And now in the world of nutrition, we are now the first company that is able to help you get the number and get you much more accurate so that you can manage your wellness more in a smarter way. Right. So this prism I mentioned is a small thing. You can see the lady put the finger on the probe. There's a flickering light. If you have used it. By the way, I think Southeast Asia, you've done close to 90,000 scans since we did a preview launch of the prism. So it's being used a whole lot. It's getting a lot of energy in your region and so on. Okay. So once again, I've already talked. The question I put up here is, how does it accelerate your business? Well, you help people to see. And once you capture that person's attention, you can talk about how exciting the new skin opportunity is, right? Previously, sometimes you start off with an opportunity, and frankly, some people may not be interested. Okay, or if you talk about antioxidant previously, they might not be as interested. But now, when you talk about wellness and nutritional health, I'm going to say 100% of people would at least listen to you a little bit longer. All right, and you take them through, because think about it, right? If I put myself into a position that you're talking to me and I know nothing about nutrition, anything, I'm just stranger. If you start and tell me about nutrition, I'm going to be interested, because I understand it's helping me. All the other things, they're so strange. You need a lot of conversation to be able to convince me that it's going to help me. So start with something easy, and that's what the prism offers. 15 seconds, but just measure. You might not even talk about your business at the very beginning, right? As long get them to buy one of these things, you can measure. It's like getting a watch and look at what time is it. Now with the prism, they can see what is my nutritional status when they look at it on their iPhone or other smartphone, and they get a number. Then they record it down, or well, actually, the smartphone will record that number and restore it, and keep on measuring and see what it looks like. All right. I've hinted about the complementary nature of PRYSM with a TRMe. There's no, it's not, when we designed the PRYSM and so on, it was never meant to compete with the TRMe. We just know that the TRMe actually bring more benefits to the user or the consumer, except they can only see weight loss. But if we can help them to see other aspects of TRMe, it will be even more powerful. And that's what the PRYSM offers. The PRYSM offers a second window into the benefits of TRMe. And I can talk about this in a whole hour in terms of how other things happen if you're overweight, about inflammation and all the other things and so on. But for here, briefly, just understand, appreciate, the PRYSM will help you deliver TRMe more to more people than without the PRYSM. All right. If you're stuck, with the TRMe on its own, the PRYSM is a great opportunity to renew that person's interest, or to finally get that person's interest, and so on, because you're looking at overall nutritional health and not just losing weight. And that's really what losing weight is all about. It's not just looking good. Remember, we also say you want to feel good, and the PRYSM is the second part. Okay. So on the business side, and this is an interesting question too, we know, right, in Nu Skin, and many of our leaders know, and you too on the call and so on, really, when you build a business, you want a business that is sustainable. In other words, it persists on its own. You don't want to keep on going and getting new and new customers and then losing the old customers. All right. Now, one of the ways of keeping the older or your existing customers is to make sure they're on a subscription. Right? Because on a subscription every month, like with TRMe and so on, or with Lifespan, right? There will be a steady consumption of these anti-aging products. And obviously, it's related to the fact you don't have to worry about your qualification every month or meeting your requirements, right? That's what a subscription does. Now, if you can, in some way, for the consumer, if that person is sort of forgetting or forgetful about their subscription and so on, the PRYSM helps them to see. If they don't take it on a regular basis, the number will go down. The score will go down. It's no doubt. We know that. Because just like food, all our ingredients are food ingredients. So why should you be surprised to sort of know that if you don't eat, you're going to get hungry, right? It's the same here. If you don't take the product, which helps to improve your score, your nutritional health score now, it's going to go down. And that's why it's such a motivating thing. Remember, this is how we, as a human person, that's how we are trained ever since we were born. All right, we have always been trained to recognize numbers that evaluate where we stand, whether we are in school. Because all of us, when we went to school, we bring home to our mothers a report card. What do you think the report card is? It's a scanner, because it has all your grades on all the subjects you have taken. You cannot lie to your mother. If without the report card, you can always come back, and if the mother asks you, how did you do in school? You say, I'm doing very great, Mom. I pay attention. I never fall asleep. I'm actually my best student in class. My teacher. I think most of it, in my experience, when I was young, when I tell my mother that, my mother would just laugh and say, are you really? By the way, my mom was a teacher, so no wonder. She always laughed and say, "No, I'm really not quite sure what you're saying. Show me your report card." And you are judged by the numbers. The PRYSM is your report card on your nutrition and your supplementation. That's why it's so powerful. You can see now, okay? Your customer can see for itself, and you can watch the trend to see whether you improve or not. So that's why it helps in the subscription all the time. And by the way, you should measure, everybody should be measuring themselves once a day in that sense, right? All right, so some technical information, if you will, because we are getting quite a bit of feedback now and quite a bit of feedback, especially on variation. The number is changing. Look, your body is, whenever we measure something biologically, especially whether it's in the blood or now in the skin like us, okay, you're never, if you get a score, let's say of 400 or I'll use 500, much easier, all right? You're not going to get 500 all the time. There's always going to be some built-in variation. Sometimes it will be 520, sometimes it will be 470, and so on. So typically what we are saying is you have a margin of error of about plus or minus 10% of the number. That's accurate. It's not to say it's not accurate. Please help your user and consumer understand everything, even when they go to the doctor and the doctor takes their blood and then send it to the lab, the laboratory, to measure glucose, lipids, cell count, whatever. There are several tens, at least 10 tests are being conducted in your blood. The change, every time they do a test again on the same blood, they will get a slightly different number. All right? They have also a margin of error. So a score, if you get 500 and the next time you measure it is at 520, 530, you're okay. In fact, the reason why I ask you to measure every day is actually to sort of establish what I would call a trend line, to see what your trend is. That is way more useful for you to know that. Plus, it helps as a reminder to take the products, if you will, and also really truly see how your body behaves through a certain period or duration, right? And in order to be accurate and consistent, please I know the scanner, this PRYSM is rather small and you can carry it everywhere. I've noticed some of you are putting it in your purse. I don't know what's in your purse. If you're a man, I notice you might be putting it in your pocket. I don't know what's in your pocket either, right? So when you take it out to use it, make sure you clean the surface, that probe, that glass area, we call it, in the middle of the scanner, all right? Before you measure. And also clean your finger. That is also important. And even before you do all that, I'm going to assume that you know how to calibrate the scanner. It's very simple. There's a disc that we gave you, right? And you measure one side, we call the dark side, and then you turn it over and measure the brownish area surface side. And between the two, the probe, the PRYSM is now calibrated. All right? There's a reason. It's very simple. The calibration is not very difficult. Anybody can do it. Even a 9-year-old can do it. Just connect it to your phone, pair it with your phone, and it says calibrate. Then follow the instructions. It's very simple. And do that, then do your measurement. And every time you put your finger on it, like I say, clean it, right? Try and clean it, especially women. I know sometimes you put makeup with your fingers and so on. And that makeup, some of it may have remain on your finger, on the skin, and that will affect the score as well. So clean it and do that. Wipe the probe, put your finger on, and put the finger totally on top of the probe. Cover it so there's no light escaping. You cannot see light All right. If you think your finger is too small, then use your thumb. Guarantee all our thumbs will be able to cover it. And with that thumb, make sure that it's also clean. That's simple. I think it's very simple. I hope you understand what I'm saying. And there's instruction to come with it. So read it. So all these things, and we have other products that we have launched before, TRMe and so on. So I thought with the launch of the PRYSM, it's time to write a new book. And that's what I've been doing, in fact, for the last 6 months or so. And finally, in fact, February 5th or thereabouts, yeah, we finally got the book published as an ebook first and available on Amazon.com. It's the book on my left. It's the one with the black banner on the top. Yeah, so that's the new one. And I've added at least 3 more chapters to it to explain to you why the devices we have are so critical and unique to Nu Skin. So now for once, you're measuring, okay? And then we're going to talk about all the other things about nutrition, vitamins, and why they're important and so on. Lots of information that obviously I wouldn't be able to go with and talk about it right now for the lack of time. But the new book is now out as an ebook, and soon we'll be bringing out a hard copy. And I'm hoping the staff in each region, especially over in Southeast Asia and so on, that you'll be gathering information on how much interest there is for people, because we need to know how many books to send to you for sale. All right. So 1 million household is your objective, okay? So in 2026, just Indonesia alone, you already have what, 300 million people? Well, I don't know. My goodness, it's already huge. In Philippines, another huge one, Thailand. So altogether, I think 1 million household in 2026 with your participation. That's a global goal, okay? In SEAPAC, as you can see, 500,000 scans, you're already on your way. You're already close to 100,000, and it's less than, I don't believe you have a full launch yet of the scanners and so on, of the PRYSMs, and 100,000 subscriptions. And altogether, it translates to 6,000 brand representatives, because we are still a leadership-driven company. All right. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope I've used more than I'm allotted to speak about the PRYSM and so on. I'll see many of you, I guess, in Shanghai. But for now, hopefully I'll give you some useful information, and we'll continue chatting and helping you out and supporting you as to the best of my ability. Thank you. Fionn, back to you.